Well, hello there guys and girls, it's me Aaron here, and today I'm going to be talking about the 1930s horror classic, The Invisible Man, with the help of my friend Kieran. And in this review we're going to be talking about, different aspects of the film, like the storyline, the background information behind the creators, the trivia behind it, and the facts and figures, and pretty much a general consensus of opinion to see how people actually feel about this epic horror film. Should we get started then? So first off, I'll be telling you guys about the storyline of this film. The story is, there's a guy who's managed to turn himself invisible, but he doesn't know how to turn himself back. And throughout the course of the film, he tries to find ways of turning himself back, but he kind of gets distracted from that route. At the beginning of the film, he rents out a room in the Ipping Inn in the secluded village of Ipping. This is because he thinks that he might be able to get on with his research without being disturbed, but he finds out that the manageress of the inn doesn't really want him to get on with his work, as she keeps annoying him by knocking on the door all the time, and this is when he starts losing his mind a bit because he gets really angry with it, and that's how he starts on his way to madness.
At this point in the film, the Invisible Man realises that he's having a lot of fun being invisible and decides that it would be better for him to stay that way and stops trying to develop a cure.
It is revealed towards the end of the film that there's a chemical within the potion that the scientist took to turn himself invisible that actually has an effect on your brain, and it makes you have fits of rage and anger, which would explain why he's been attacking people throughout the course of the film. At the end of the movie, the Invisible Man gets cornered in a barn by the police, who are pursuing him because of the crimes that he's committed. The police then begin to set the barn on fire, which causes the Invisible Man to run out because he doesn't want to get burnt. The police manage to notice where the Invisible Man is by the footsteps that are left in the snow, and by this they know exactly where he is and they shoot him, and then he ultimately dies from his gunshot wounds.
The guy who directed the movie was James Whale, who was an acclaimed horror director in the 1930s, and he directed other classics such as Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein and The Dark House, which are all acclaimed movies, particularly Frankenstein being one of the biggest cult classic movies of all time. James Whale was a weird guy. He said that he produced his own movies, when in reality he didn't, and he left that job to other people. The original writer of The Invisible Man was H.G. Wells, who wrote it in 1897, and he was a brilliant sci-fi novelist who wrote other fantastic books such as War of the Worlds and The Time Machine. One particular fact about H.G. Wells' books is that they all have a similar theme of a scientist that experiments on themselves and something goes badly wrong, most commonly known in The Time Machine, where a guy gets inside a time machine and goes to a apocalyptic future where bad things have happened all over the place.
The actors of the film are fantastic at what they do, especially Claude Rains, who is the man who actually plays the Invisible Man. His acting in this movie is brilliant, and I particularly like the way in which he changes his acting to respond to how the character's mental state is changing.
To take some exercise to keep warm. I killed a stupid little policeman, smashed his head in.
Probably the most annoying character in the film is Una O'Connor's character, who is one of the most annoying characters I've ever had to listen to, as the constant screaming that she does is so goddamn annoying that it may put you off the rest of the film. There are a few bland characters, like the police officer, who doesn't really seem to get surprised by anything, even though there is an invisible man running around with him. He still doesn't seem that bothered by it.
Stupid, but all are impossible.
He's got to sleep. They might catch him asleep.
If you can get past some of the annoying actors, you can actually really start to appreciate the fantastic acting that is seen in the film.
It's a drug that's made from a flower that's grown in India. It draws color from everything it touches.
Now on to the trivia of the film. The main piece of trivia is about how the creators turned Claude Rains, the actor, invisible. They did this by making him wear a completely black velvet outfit, and they filmed him against a black velvet background. By doing this, it gave the appearance that he wasn't there. Another piece of random trivia about the film is about the treatments for the scripts, because most of the treatments weren't actually based off the Invisible Man novel itself. but there was only one that was actually based off the novel itself, and that was the one that became the script for the film.
On the webpage IMDb, the film has received a 7.7 out of 10 from over 12,000 users, which is a very good score over a period of time, which some films today can't seem to achieve. And on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got an 8.4 out of 10 from the users and an 100% out of the critics' scores, which is fantastic, even despite it being from the 1930s. And these ratings alone prove that the film has a fantastic fan base, even to this day.
What most people think about the film is that the story is one of the best stories that they've seen in a film. They just love everything about it. Also, the special effects in the film are fantastic for the time. I mean, could you imagine watching a film in the 1930s when special effects hadn't really been around for that long and seeing someone turn invisible right before your eyes? Also, most people think that the acting in the film is fantastic. A good example of this is Claude Rains' acting in the film, because most people love the acting and how he shows the fact that his character is turning insane throughout the film. But some people don't really like the acting of Una O'Connor's character, which is the screaming barmaid at the beginning of the film, because they just think it's annoying and unnecessary. Also, people love the music that is used in the film, because it just adds such a unique atmosphere to the film, and you actually feel quite scared for some of the characters that are on screen and what's going to happen to them. But the overall opinion on the film is that it's just amazing in most respects, like the story, most of the characters as well, and the film is also revered as being one of the many classic films that started off the horror genre. A modern day equivalent of The Invisible Man is the film The Hollow Man, which is pretty much about the same type of thing, like a person who manages to turn himself invisible and he starts going a bit insane. But The Hollow Man got nominated for an Oscar, which shows that these films are of very high standards. We've also had comments from Twitter from people telling us how much they love this film and how they feel about it. One of the examples is from @ChocoJC96, who says the film is fantastic and that it's one of the best horror classics of the 1930s. So I think as an overall opinion, we're going to give this film a 9 out of 10, because everything about it's just amazing, like the plot line, special effects, and just everything about it's just fantastic. But you know, there are some shortcomings to it, like
Well, in Una O'Connor's character, for sure, and in the policeman in parts, they're a bit bland.
yeah, just a bit boring at parts. But
Yeah, but otherwise it's a great film, and I recommend it to anyone.
yeah, definitely recommend this film to everyone, because it's just amazing every single way. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed what we've been telling you about this film. So thanks for watching. Bye.
See you.
Monocaine? What is monocaine?